Hello, you're listening to LaunchLeft Podcast. Today's very special guests are Dean and Britta, and they're launching Ryder the Eagle. Don't forget, rate and subscribe. Follow us on all socials at LaunchLeft. Welcome to LaunchLeft, Dean and Britta. It's so nice to have you here on the show. Finally.
Thanks for having us.
We met many years ago, Britta, I think in the Southeast.
I was living in Atlanta. Mm-hmm.
And then I called you all up for that Occupy
Yes.
in New York. That
We went down to BAI. Is that it? Is that what we did?
Yeah, was it a radio station?
Yeah,
right?
WBAI.
Yeah.
I remember that because it was a couple of funny things happened. Well, one, we saw Lou Reed on the way in or out, I think.
Yeah.
You interviewed him or something, yeah?
You know, I wish he had something to do with it. He was like part of the council of activists, or he sat in with them on something.
And then I was talking to this other woman who worked there, and I was telling her about a book I just finished reading by this historian, Jackson Lears. And it was about America in like the 1870s. And she's like, that's my dad. I wrote that book. I was like, wow, that's weird.
Wow. Of all things to bring up, that is weird.
Yes. The book is about how everything that was going on around Occupy was also happening back in the 1870s, whatever, crashes and poverty and
the cycles of suffering.
Yes.
Well, I was just thinking this morning before hopping on with you all, I was thinking you guys have been in music for a long time, and you must have some excellent stories through many of the music industry's changes as well, which has changed and morphed so much.
I think that's the main feature of the music business is just constant change, constant disruption. And I feel like I learned that pretty quickly because when I was like 24, 25 and signing a record deal and thinking like, oh, this is the people I'm going to be working with. And then a year later, they're filing for bankruptcy. And then, you know, the compact disc is coming along and then something else, it's just always changing. And
you don't become a musician expecting stability, I think.
Yeah.
Or money. Yeah. So.
Well, I always ask that question, how did music find you? Because in many ways, that's what it feels like happens. It's not that you become a musician, right?
Yeah.
It finds you and you can't stop.
Some people, I mean, I guess we've got friends who are like at an early age, you know, 9 or 10, playing this instrument and are like, I am going to do this. I'm like our friend Anthony LaMarca, he's like that. He was playing drums from an early age, knew he wanted to be a musician, went to the jazz program at the New School. And
yeah, I grew up with musicians. My dad was a musician, but I didn't think of it as something to pursue until I was 18. So that's later.
Yeah.
And you were probably the
and
same age.
I mean, well, I started a band because I had a friend in high school and we were going off to college and he's like, oh, we should start a band and that way I can get a girlfriend. And then he bought all our equipment, so that was cool. But then he dropped out. But somehow I kept going, and then that band turned into Galaxy 500. But even then, I mean, I didn't really seriously think that I would, how old, 22 or something. I didn't really think that 20 years later I'd be a musician. I mean, I feel like I got a little bit lucky. Started making some music and put out a single, and people liked it. It was like, oh wow, people actually like it. So so that's good. You have to be thankful for that.
Yeah. I think luck always plays a big part because there are so many talented musicians that don't get heard and so many untalented that you do hear. So luck has to be part of it.
I just read this book by Sacha Frere Jones, who used to be the music critic at the New Yorker. He's written a memoir, and he has this nice paragraph in there about bitter musicians. He's like, bitter musicians, they act like they're angry that somehow someone didn't raise their music up higher, you know, that more people didn't like it. He's like, for me, I'm just thankful that anyone likes my music at all. And I just like, anytime they say they like it, I'm like, oh, that's nice.
It is nice.
Yes.
One or two people really connecting with your music. Someone who comes up and is like, that moved me so much. That is That is the real stuff for sure. But there is something, I think, in the human condition where we're looking for some lasting thing, right? Some stamp of we're here forever. And so I think that's a lot of what feeds into the fame and celebrity culture that we're just very unconscious of and unaware of, that, as a people, as a culture, that urge really comes from the terror of death.
I think I find it harder now to spend the time alone writing as I get older now, after many decades. It's like, who knows how much time I have left, and I don't know, there's a trade-off.
Yeah.
So
Writing is difficult.
Yeah.
Or everyone would do it.
You both write together?
We rarely have ever just sat down looking at each other writing a song. It's usually separate. And then, when we worked on the Warhol show, we wrote songs and score for these Warhol screen tests shot in the mid-'60s to perform live with. And there's an album too. And for those, we had to sit down and watch the screen tests and play. That seemed to work best on some of them.
We've had songs that have come from us just sitting there.
That's
jamming.
true.
We have.
We don't do it that much.
We
don't do it all the time.
But usually it's more like I do something downstairs and I send it to Britta, and then she adds her stuff to it, or the other way around.
Do you toil over words a lot? The lyrics, is that a toil or a joy, or does it pop out very easily?
I mean, stuff pops out all the time, and that's fun. It's finishing, like putting it all together, for me is very difficult. I think, definitely music comes a lot more naturally. I don't think I even listened to lyrics, or I didn't listen to them well until kind of embarrassingly recently. In the last 10 years, maybe.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's easy to start a song, and it's difficult to finish a song. So it's easy to come up with a sort of basic idea. But I work harder on the lyrics than I used to when I was younger, and I just would often show up in the studio with like only 5 out of 10 songs written and be like hurriedly doing it. But I guess a lot of people do that.
Do you all wish that you had chosen a different profession? Or I know that's a crazy question to ask anyone, or do you have moments?
Not today.
I have at times. I would say not since I met you. I haven't tried. I haven't regretted it.
Right.
Aww.
But yeah, there definitely were times where I thought about. Actually, right before I met Dean, I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm going to be a yoga teacher or something. Not that that's very secure either, but and I was kind of not listening to new music and not really inspired by anything. And then I met Dean, and I kind of got that whole excitement. But you played me a bunch of stuff I'd never heard, and I just got very excited about music.
Oh, thank you.
So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't regret it. I don't wish I'd taken another job. But yeah, I suppose there are days. Might be days on tour when you go somewhere, some little town, there's hardly anyone there, and you're like, what am I doing? Driving a van full of equipment around. But that does not usually happen. No, there's usually people there. And they're excited. And when they're excited, then you're excited too.
You've only ever played for your fans before. I guess you had a moment before you were loved. But that was so long ago, whereas I played for years with bands that weren't as loved as much as Luna and Galaxy 500. Right. So I really appreciate those fans. They're good.
It does make a difference to have smiling faces and people singing your lyrics and bopping their heads, and it's for sure. So through all the years, you all have, I assume, done everything from small clubs, medium festivals, big stadiums, in all of the ways that you...
We did one stadium. When we opened for Guster, that was a big place. That wasn't a stadium. The biggest shows I can remember doing are opening for Guster, which was a bummer because their fans were just like, Guster, Guster. They did not. They were like 14-year-old girls. And when I played with Ben Lee in Australia,
Right,
that was,
some big
and they
shows.
were more young girls.
Right.
That was 25 years ago.
Right. Well, I guess I've been on festival stages where you look out and there's like 10,000 people out there or more.
Oh, yeah.
I played Glastonbury with Galaxy 500. It was smaller back then. This is 1991, I think.
I played Reading in
Well,
91.
there you go.
See, this is wild to me. I mean, I too was playing music starting in 89, like little clubs with my brother, and we had a band. But, you know, for a lot of people that are younger than us, that really loved the 90s and the aughts, right? That was such a time in music that you were becoming really popular. Galaxy 500 was, right?
We broke up in 91, but we were, yeah, I mean, we weren't huge. We were popular in Europe, and we were playing clubs. We were in England.
Because I was
especially.
living
Yeah.
in England then, and I remember
We
Galaxy
were never
was on the cover.
Yeah, we were never huge, but we were not unknown.
And in all those years, you know, all those different decades in music, does it feel the same now? Was there a different spirit in the air, or did it feel, do you remember if things have changed drastically as a performer in the arena of music since then?
Things are better organized. But I don't know. Sometimes it's a function of how many tickets you're selling. So maybe you get treated a little better if you're selling some more tickets.
I think there's a big difference, because we're older and the fans are older, so it's just a different energy. Although we get some younger fans too. Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I just wanted people to be looking at me and performing.
Yeah.
Now I see it as more of it's like we're just all there together and we're appreciating being appreciated. You know what I mean? It's less ego, you know.
I feel like before the 80s, there wasn't even a circuit of little clubs, and there weren't all these little like indie bands driving all over the country playing in little clubs. These clubs didn't actually exist, I don't think. You had to be big to go on tour, I think. But some of the punk bands changed that.
That's
like
why I moved
Black
to
Flag or people like that. Yeah.
That's why I moved to England, so we could tour the country. And there's just that one, you know, the radio, BBC.
Yeah.
So yeah.
When did you guys meet? You guy and gal meet?
Yeah.
2000. We met in 2000.
Is that right? It was 2000?
Yeah, March 2000.
Okay.
I auditioned for Luna. I'd been touring with Ben Lee, and the guitar tech for Ben Lee also worked for Luna, and he knew that they were looking for a bass player, so he recommended me.
Was it fireworks immediately in all ways?
Pretty soon it was, yes.
Well, I don't know. I remember just looking at a photo of you before and showing it to my mom, and she was like, uh-oh. We tried to not be scandalous, but it happened.
Didn't try hard enough.
Tried as hard as we could. But it's all worked out. It was scandalous for a while because Dean was married and had a child. So, but we're all friends now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that a nice thing about time?
Yes.
Yes.
I always find it a little bit concerning if there's been 20 years and people still hate each other.
So it's not just time. It's also, you know, it's making the effort and wanting to do it. And some people would rather be angry for 20 years.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So when you joined Luna, for you, Britta, you'd been on tour with Ben Lee, so you had been playing big shows and had that experience. But with the addition of the fireworks that were not just playing with the new band, but also falling in love, was that did that change the experience of music for you to be in love and playing with the band, and it was good audiences and all of that for you? How was that different?
Yeah. I mean, it was just heavenly and very intoxicating and just, yeah.
It's true.
Very exciting.
It was super fun. It was fun for me too. Because actually, before Britta joined Luna, I think it was kind of feeling like the band was just kind of fall apart, and I was really quite tired of it. And then my booking agent was like Britta joined the band, my booking agent was like, "Wow, Dean seems really excited to go on tour all of a sudden." It did make it fun again. That's not the only reason it was fun, but
yeah, it was fun for many, many reasons. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about it. You slipped up and mentioned
the Hooky Wooky tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were two. I did two. Luna also opened the Velvet Underground tour when they reformed. 93, I'm going to say. 93, 94. They reformed. We opened that tour, and that's how I played a gig at Wembley Arena, because I was opening for them. And then the Velvet Underground broke up again. They couldn't get along. They didn't get along even after 20 years away. And Lou did that album, Set the Twilight Reeling, I think it's called.
That sounds
It's
right.
got that song, Hooky Wooky. I want to Hooky Wooky with you. And it was the Hooky Wooky tour.
He's got a song, I Want to Boogie With You, too.
Yeah, that's a better song. I Want to Boogie With You is better.
It's the same meaning.
Yeah, see, because everyone's looking for a euphemism for making love.
Like the Sam Cooke song, Everybody Loves to Cha-Cha-Cha. Is it really about?
Well, rock and roll.
Is it about doing the cha-cha-cha? What is the cha-cha-cha?
Yeah.
Yeah, and good point, Britta, is rock and roll was that first used to describe getting down.
Right.
Or, and then it became like rock and roll because it's evocative of.
Yeah, I think it's built into, they're attached.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say, actually, but even before rock and roll, I would say even the waltz, when the waltz came in Europe in like the late 19th century, that was like people were like dancing and getting, it was kind of scandalous.
I had Cat Power on the pod this last month, and I'm assuming you guys have bumped into her in your time out.
Yeah.
Any interesting Sean Marshall stories?
We played a festival in Portugal that Cat Power was on, that Sean was on, 2002 or 2003, when she was still drinking quite a bit. Anyway, she was like the headliner of this little, when they say festival, it was in venues around the town of Porto. But anyway, so there's like 1,000 people in there, but she's drunk and she's just up there basically talking, and like she'll like start a song and then stop, and then
when she did sing, it was beautiful.
And she just kind of rambled, and then finally people started booing, and then they turned the lights on and she gave the finger to everybody. And then we like go backstage to say hi to her, and she just looked at me, she's like, "I know you. I saw you on the street in Manhattan. You were walking your dog," but she's like, "But you were with your wife and you had the dog on the leash." But she's like, "But you were the one who was on the leash. I could tell you." I was like, wow, that's funny. Anyway, and then she's like, "Oh," but then she offered to make out with both of us.
We did.
Yeah.
Nice. Scandalous. I like it. Scandal follows you.
But anyway, and actually, the rest of that festival, all people could talk about was that gig. And I was just like, all right, so it really doesn't matter what happened. Like, in fact,
It didn't hurt
you could
her at
argue
all.
that people were coming they'd heard that there could be a meltdown going on and everything like that. But yeah, she's a great, great singer.
Oh, yeah. Amazing artist and poet and very intuitive. I like that even your story, she obviously saw in one flash with you on the street.
Yeah.
That's kind of her. She'll just be like, get something.
Yes.
Yeah.
But very sensitive too.
I feel like we saw her like a year later and she just was like, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Are you mad at me?
Are you mad at me? Yeah.
No.
So what are you guys up to? Are you Dean and Britta-ing? Are you touring? Are you Luna-ing?
Well, as Dean and Britta were working on a holiday album.
We're doing everything. It's basically the answer. Yes.
True.
We're trying to finish our Christmas album now to roll out in time for the season. And then we have the small Lunator coming
Just a
up.
few dates.
And then
I'm working on a solo album. I'm writing songs.
I'm writing songs too, but we're booking time with Dean in May.
Yeah.
So to light the fire to finish some things.
It's really the only thing. The only thing that gets me to finish song is handing some money to a studio and booking the dates, because then it's like, oh, all right. It'll be embarrassing if I show up and I have nothing. So
Yeah, same for shows. For getting a live band going for me is book a show and then all of a sudden find the band, dude.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can just keep talking about it, but the pressure helps.
yeah. Next up, artificial intelligence.
Yes. How do you feel about that without getting...
I'm not really freaked out about it. I feel like the one thing they can't take away. Well, if you perform live, that's one thing that nobody can copy that, and I don't know. That's something that I feel like people crave, that connection with you as a live performer. And
I wouldn't mind using AI to finish lyrics, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to like feed all of my lyrics into something and have it just sort of
there was an ad during the Super Bowl.
Throw stuff back to me.
Last ad during the Super Bowl for some new thing.
I'll try it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want it to write it for me. I just want it to sort of, shake my brain a little.
Yeah. I've tried a little bit. Like I was like, tried with ChatGPT. I was like, write me a song about a bunny rabbit serving in the Vietnam War. And it did. I was like, well, it's not too bad. Just got to ask the right questions.
It wasn't too literal.
Yeah, I'm impressed with people who even know how to use chat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not against it, though. I feel like if it's happening and it's snowballing already, then discovering ways to transform our relationship with it is the only thing that we can do, right? The personal responsibility of anything is required for it to be different because it's happening.
Yeah. I mean, I think what I hope will happen with AI is that it will be used to curate all the information that's at our fingertips that we waste so much time trying to sift through. So if you can ask AI the right question, it can maybe curate the things that you want to find online and information. I think that would be useful.
Right. Yeah. I feel like we're seeing good and bad already. I mean, I think in the medical profession, it's great. I'm already seeing a proliferation of the 10 best Galaxy 500 songs, and you go look at it, it's like, oh, this is just written by a bot. I can tell. It's just like because they're using the same description for song after song, whatever. Just like,
yeah,
a lot of that. That's annoying.
Do you have the experience of time being really compressed? And if so, do you surmise that it has to do with aging? Or have you talked to younger people and asked them their experience of time these days?
I definitely feel like time is going by too quickly, especially the last 10 years.
Yeah. But my mother says the same, has been saying that for a while. She's like, you watch. And she said her mother told her the same thing when she was young. And she's like, you're an idiot. How can time be going faster for you than it is for me? But that's just the way it is.
And Jack, Dean's son, who's 24, time does not go by quickly for him. That's what he said to me. Yeah. So I still think it's slow for younger people.
Have you experienced that since the pandemic and the lockdowns lifting, that there doesn't seem to be enough time for all the things you want to do?
Well, yeah, I think I mean, one thing I enjoyed about the lockdown was how few things we had to do. So we had slow days.
Yeah.
And we were outside.
Did some of the things that you did before everything slowed down, did you delete some of those from your life after? Were there things you just felt like, why am I doing this now?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. I know there are things. I don't know if I can think of anything right now, but I think that's true. Like once you stop doing something, you realize you don't have to pick it back up.
I just think we've all got more to do than we used to. That's a function of the internet. I didn't used to have to be a travel agent. Now I have to be a travel agent. As technology changed, the work got, all of us do more and more work at home that previously maybe someone else used to do.
do you feel that artists have always had to do the same amount of work as they do now, considering you've been in bands since the late 80s? And
We have to do much more now. Well, at least I do. We have to do social media. Part of it's because we run a little label too, which is more profitable in a way if you run a label because the money comes straight to you.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work. I guess anyone I know who runs a little label is like swamped with administrative work, and that actually makes you appreciate what it is that people do who work at record companies.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm glad to hear you say that about artists, because it's wild to me what's required. And even with artists that we have on our label, I hear myself saying, well, you're going to need to do a lot more. I can't do your social media for you. I can't do your, like
That's where everybody's looking.
Yeah, no, it has to be done. And I think we're like some John Cale interview somewhere. He's like, you're making your record. That the job's not over when you make your record. You have to get it out there as well. And now there's more and more work involved in that for all of us. I mean, I didn't do any social media until I had a book coming out. I wrote a book about 20 years ago, a memoir. And then the publicists at Penguin were like, oh, you need to be on Facebook and you need to start a Facebook page for your book. Because they were like, look, here, we'll show you these charts. These are authors who don't do any social media, and here are ones who do some social media. And so I was like, it is required. Or you have someone else do it for you, I suppose.
I feel like people can tell if you have somebody doing it for you. I don't know. I mean, I think one good thing about social media is I feel like more and more people just want to see real people. They don't want to see perfect presentations.
Do you feel happy to know that you're, as am I, part of this huge shift from zero social media, zero cell phones into this new world we live in that is all on your phone and social media, that we were part of the bookend of that? Does that make you feel?
I'm glad we grew up in a world where we didn't have to do that.
Yeah, I'm glad we weren't born into this. I think that would be weird. Hard.
It's hard for teenagers.
There are days I wish it didn't exist, but there are too many things I actually love. I mean, I overuse it, like most people.
Yes.
I can get addicted to things.
Yeah. The filth of Instagram, as Jarrett Kovic called it, just filth. Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a lot I love about it. So yeah.
And again, as much as we complain about social media and all the stuff we have to do, and the internet destroyed this and it destroyed that, it's still pretty great for a band with a following. These are useful tools, and it's kind of great that for cheap you can make a record and get it out and people can hear it in Tokyo or Alaska.
Yeah.
You don't get paid for that, but necessarily, but it's good.
And Spotify, I think the upside to that, there's less money, although we do a little better because we own our own label. We own our recordings. But it's nice that people and younger people from all over the world can discover the tail end of it. It's nice.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy composing for TV and film, or is that something that you want to do more of, or are you most excited by live performance and writing your own original music?
We're kind of lucky that the films we got to work on, we scored a couple of Noah Baumbach films. We did this Andy Warhol thing. He's dead, obviously, but we scored some of his films, and he couldn't tell us what he wanted. We got to do some stuff for Olivier Assia, for Irma Vep. So it's fun to work on good things.
Yes. Yeah, these things are fun if they're not regular. You know, if you had to, it would pay well. I mean, I have a
Yes,
friend
that's
who does that. It
yeah.
would pay well, and I could probably do it for a while. But to churn out stuff, you're gonna lose inspiration and ideas, and it's gonna get
But on the flip side, anytime somebody asks you to do something, gives you an assignment, it gets you writing.
That's true.
So even if the ideas get tossed out from that thing, and that way it's helpful. I'm just actually, it's not really a talent. I'm not I'm not a trained musician. Britta's better at it than I
I'm
am.
not trained either.
No,
but
yeah,
I
but she's more patient than I am. So I can't really like do something in this style, do something in that style. I'm like, no, I can really kind of only do me. I'm sorry.
That kind of challenge is fun to me because it's like, oh, I've never tried that before, so let me try. And yeah, I think it's fun if as long as it's like not on demand, like daily turning something over in 24 hours. I mean,
Have you done score?
No, I've had songs placed a few times.
That's
But
better. That's much
yeah.
better. Because then they come to you and they've already tried it and it already works,
Yeah.
and then they just give you money.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Live performance or studio, if you had to choose?
If I had to choose, I would choose the studio, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Not that the studio it's not all fun, but there are moments when you see a song taking shape, somebody does something exciting. It can be really fun in the studio. And then some days you're like, "Arr."
for me, singing live is much more fun than singing in the studio. I mean, singing in the studio can be fun, but I can also get very self-conscious in the studio, whereas live, I still get a little terrified, which I love.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or, I frame it as being excited or feeling vulnerable or exposed.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thrill, I think.
Yeah.
Just doing that with people right there is amazing. Yeah.
It's been so nice speaking with you too. I enjoyed it, and it was nice to catch up with you. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Okay. Bye.
We are Dean and Britta.
And the artist we're going to launch is Ryder the Eagle.
Hello, Ryder the Eagle. Welcome to LaunchLeft podcast.
Hello. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank Dean and Britta for launching you because they introduced us to your music and we love it.
Cool. Thank you so much. I mean, thanks to them as well.
Yeah. You are busy. We can tell you have tour dates coming. I know you have an album coming out soon. Tell me the process. Do you have a lot of help or do you do it alone?
I do it basically all alone, apart from my girlfriend, who's like helping me a lot with the videos and the artwork for the album. I used to do that pretty much on my own. I mean, hiring DOPs, friends of mine, but it's because she's a visual artist. Like we do that part together, which is nice. But all the rest, I'm basically on my own. So like the label side of things, the distribution, the recording, producing, manufacturing vinyl records, and booking tours and all that stuff. So that's that's a lot of work, but it's cool. But I just finished recording my album, and I need to do all that stuff all together, and it's all at the same time. So it's kind of a lot sometimes.
Yeah, I can relate and actually really appreciate hearing that because it gives me the sense of not being alone, that there are other people who are doing the lion's share of all the work around releases and things. And there's a joy to that because of knowing, where it's coming from and why we do it. And it's just nice to meet a fellow artist who's also doing that. So thank you. That was inspiring to hear. Where are you from?
Cool.
I can detect an accent.
Yes, I'm sure you can. I'm from the south of France. I lived in London for 2 years, and now I've been living in Mexico for like 3 or 4 years, something like that.
Very cool.
So,
What about Mexico City do you love that you decided to live there?
I don't know. It was kind of random because after I was living in London, and then I went on tour in the US, and then the pandemic hit, and I had to go home, which was not technically London because I didn't have a resident card or anything like that. So I was stuck in Paris, and a friend of mine let me stay in his apartment. But it was just me on my own. So I was lucky I had an apartment, but it was not home. And so I didn't want to go back to London, and I didn't want to stay in Paris. So I just looked up what country had like their borders open. That was not France, and Mexico was the only one, I think. So I just flew to Mexico, and I had always been attracted by Mexico because I had never been, but the culture and all was really attracting me there. So I went there, and I just stayed there because I loved it there. But I'm pretty much either on tour for 3 months, or recording another album like in a different place for 3 months, and then in Mexico for 3 months. So it's like I don't spend a lot of time in Mexico every year, but I try to spend as much time as possible. And I just got here like a few days ago, so I'm happy I'm here.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I love Mexico. I haven't spent a lot of time in Mexico City, but
it's cool. Yeah, but all the rest of the country is amazing too. I wish I had more time to explore. I explored a fair bit of it, but I still have more exploring to do.
Yeah. I'm curious if you've ever come across LaunchLeft before Dean and Britta reached out to you about this, or how you heard about us, or did it come through them?
It definitely came through them. But I actually heard about you, not the podcast, but you as an artist, super randomly when I was like 1 week before you reached out to me, and I was just scrolling on YouTube and bumped into this video of your brother Joaquin being interviewed on French TV, and he had to pick some artists that he loved, and he picked you. And I just didn't know like he had a sister and that she was playing music, and I was like, cool, that sounds really good. And then like a week later you reached out to me, so that was pretty crazy. But
I like that, kismet. So let's maybe this is a sign that we will meet each other again in the arts and do music things together. You know, we have a label as well, and we have some label artists that I just love, and so maybe we can organize like a Mexico City mini tour or a California Mexico tour. It'd be so fun.
That would be amazing. Yeah, I'm all for it.
We love your music, and excited that you have a new single coming out probably right around when this podcast airs, and also a new record, I think you said in September. Is there anything you want to share about the single, which we're definitely going to put on this episode so people can hear more about you and your music?
Yes, so the album is coming out in April, actually. I wish it came out in a little bit later because I would have more time to do everything that I have to do, but it will be out in April, late April. And the single that you're going to play is called Autotango, and it's also the name of the album. And it's the first single off of the album, and it's the first time I'm really diving deep into myself. And I used to write a lot of songs about love and about heartbreaks and all that kind of stuff, and sometimes you just tend to blame other people for your trouble, which is a natural thing to do because we interact with other people all the time, and that's how we like build our personalities and stuff. But I came to a point where it didn't seem like it was enough, or it was fair enough to myself and to the rest of to the outside world. So this album and this song particularly is really about holding yourself accountable for the things that happen to yourself and your mental health and all that stuff, and really trying to figure out why you're putting yourself in these kind of situations instead of blaming the rest of the world.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I appreciate that you had the time and energy to talk with us. It sounds like you're very busy, and we look forward to seeing you. Make sure you keep us posted on tour dates, and we'll keep looking on the internet and following you because your music is awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And thank you, Dean and Britta, for also having me on the show.
Awesome. Well, have a wonderful day. Appreciate you.
You too, Rain. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
things go both ways. I know I can't blame it all on love. I know it takes more than one to tango. I sheltered my name beneath a shiny sombrero. I tied up my fate to a horse and a vaquero, containing my steps within the borders of Mexico. I know she taught me a trick to dance a two-way bolero. You gave me time to mirror your flamenco. Now I'm alone facing my Autotango. Let's go. Tango, que mirar en el espejo. Tengo que aprender a bailar solo. I covered my eyes wearing the gloves of my ego. I faked from afar, waving a shattered bravado, dodging myself in the fashion of a torero. I know she followed my lead through a demented calypso. You gave me your hand, showed me the dance of tomorrow. Now I'm alone facing my Autotango. Tango, tango. One step forward, two steps back. See what's left. Don't look right. Two steps forward and one step right. The love that left never comes back. And six steps forward and hold on tight. Lose yourself, but don't lose track of time. Don't lose track of time. Don't lose track of time. Don't lose track of love.
LaunchLeft aims to create an intentional space that highlights and empowers all artists for whom radical creativity is not a choice, but a necessity. LaunchLeft begins with music, but its ultimate aim is to launch left-of-center artists in all creative fields.